in today's video, we're going to talk about language learning. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to learn any foreign language or improve your target language. And first, a couple of words about myself. My name is Irina. I was born and raised in Russia, and I've been always passionate about foreign languages. I hold a degree in English philology issued by a university in Russia. I also hold a master's degree issued by a university in Spanish, a master's degree, in teaching English as a foreign language. I've been learning and teaching languages for the past 9 years, so I know the language learning process inside out, and I understand how difficult it may be at times. I am fluent in Russian, English, Spanish, and I'm currently improving my French and Catalan. And I guess the best thing about this video is that I'm speaking from my personal experience. I've tried all these tips and they work like magic in my language learning process. But it's just my opinion. I'm not claiming that these tips will be suitable for every single person. Just try them out and see for yourselves. Okay, watch this video till the end and decide if these tips are useful for you or not. And comment it down below in the comment section, please. So without further ado, let's dive into it. And the first tip number 1, is listening. Listen as much as possible in your target language. So what do I mean by listening? First of all, make it your daily routine. You might ask me, like, what do you mean by listening? How am I supposed to understand if I've only just begun learning a language? Okay, guys, it's not only about understanding. Understanding will come later, don't worry. It's about familiarizing yourself with the sounds, the intonation, the rising and falling intonation, for example, the accents, etc. And the trick is to listen as much as possible in your target language. It somehow trains your ear, it wires your brain to perceive the sounds in a foreign language better. So guys, just make it your daily routine. Fill your house with the sounds of the language you are learning. Immerse yourself into this language. You can simply go on YouTube. There are lots of YouTube videos of native speakers speaking in your target language. Find the channels you like. Subscribe to the vloggers whose ideas you share and just listen to them on a daily basis, period. Then you also have podcasts, innumerable podcasts at your disposal. Most of them are free, and I will link down below in the description area a fantastic app that I'm using to listen to podcasts. It's great, it's free, and you will find podcasts to your liking. Also, don't forget about audiobooks. They are mostly great for intermediate and advanced learners, because if you're listening to an audiobook, you do need to understand something. Otherwise, what's the purpose of listening to an audiobook, right? And last but not least, it's highly important to find a topic you enjoy. Otherwise, all these efforts will be pointless. I mean, if you're going to listen to something about, say, crude oil extraction, and you don't understand a thing, even in your native language, how are you supposed to understand and enjoy it in a foreign language? So find a topic that you enjoy, that you understand. For example, if you're interested in traveling, find some vloggers who travel around the world and speak in your target language and listen to them every day. This way, you won't only improve your language level, but learn something new as well. Listening has helped me a lot. My Spanish teacher, for example, introduced listening from lesson number 1. First, we would finish a unit, and then there was listening. And this way, I got accustomed to the Spanish speech, different accents, the intonation from class number 1. And from then on, my Spanish skyrocketed. Okay, tip number 2 is imitation or copying. When you hear the word imitation, probably the first thing that comes to your mind is a parrot that imitates and copies everything it hears. But don't be afraid to look strange or weird. You won't look weird. It will only do you good. So by imitation, I mean that you have to imitate the speaker's intonation, the accent, if you're trying to improve the accent, the rising and falling intonation, and just the general manner of speaking. Listen intently to the speaker and try to imitate or copy their speech. This method has helped me a lot as well with my languages. It will help you make your speech more natural, more native-like. Just try it out. You will see it for yourselves. Okay, tip number 3 is reading. Yes, reading, as simple as that. I know I haven't discovered America for you here, guys, but just listen to some of my advice and I'll try to explain how reading can be beneficial for your language learning and how to make the most out of it. First of all, read in your target language as much as possible. However, there are a lot of types of reading techniques and methods. We're not going to dive into them all right now. I'll just share with you how to make the most out of reading and improve your language skills. Well, if you are a beginner or an intermediate student, you won't definitely be able to understand the books in their original version. So you may want to try graded readers instead. It works perfectly for low-level students because such books contain only the vocabulary suitable for each level. They also usually have a mini dictionary in the end and some comprehension tests. As I've mentioned before, I'm currently improving my French, so I've bought some graded books, A2 and B1 level, and I'm working my way through them, and I really like it. So here's one of them. It is B1 level, Les Perles de Pilat. And so there is a book suitable for level B1. The text then in the, here I have an MP3 or whatever, an MP3 disc. I also have some dictionary, some mini dictionary in the end, and some comprehension tests. It works really good, guys. Okay, next advice is read what you enjoy most. For example, if you're a huge Harry Potter fan and you have read all the 7 books in your native language and you know the story inside out, it will be way easier to read these same books in your target language because you are already familiar with the storyline, with the plot, and even if there are some unknown words and phrases, there will still be a lot of hints that will help you to understand the plot better. Okay, and this leads us to our next advice. Don't feel pressured if you don't understand some of the words or phrases. You don't have to look up every single word in the dictionary because it's tiresome, demotivating, and your reading session just won't last long. What you can do instead, however, is to underline or highlight the unknown words and phrases, finish a chapter, or finish a couple of pages trying to grasp the general meaning, and then take a dictionary and look up the underlined words and write them down either in the book or better still in a notebook. Good. So this is what works well for me. I mean, I can't look up every single unknown word because I get tired, demotivated, I feel less focused. Good. And my final advice when it comes to reading is to try bilingual books. So what is a bilingual book? I'm sure you've heard about them already. Basically, it's a book where on one page there is a text in a foreign language and on the opposite page there is a text in your native language or a vehicle language. Let's call it like this, vehicle language. So the language that helps you understand the foreign language, yeah? It's easier this way because you only need to handle one book. You don't need the dictionary because it's all in one, right? But you still have to take notes and follow the general guidelines and follow the rules that I've just explained to you. All right, and my tip number 4 is a fun one, and it involves using Post-it notes. It'll help you learn new words and thus enrich your vocabulary without the need of cramming. So what is so special about Post-it notes and how can they help us in our language learning process? Well, to begin with, it's a great tool for visual type of learners. What do I mean by visual type of learners? So as you may know, there are different learning styles. We perceive information using our senses. There are different types of learning styles such as visual learners, auditory, kinesthetic type of learners. I'm not going to dive into this information right now because it's a topic for a whole new video. So if you are a visual type of learner, using Post-it notes will be very beneficial for your language learning process. Yeah, so visual type of learners are the learners who learn by looking at things, just like me. I always learn better when I look at things. As you can see in this picture, and here on your right, someone who is learning Spanish decided to put sticky notes on all the products in the fridge. So we have el pan, which is bread, la leche, milk, tengo sed, I'm thirsty, and so on. So it's a great visual way to actually learn things. Just place a note on all the things you have lying around your house, or at least the things that might be useful for you to know in your target language. The sticky note technique allows you to exercise your visual memory and associate specific words with the respective objects. Thus, your brain is likely to retain new vocabulary better without any tedious cramming. And one more advice on how to take advantage of Post-it notes is to write your shopping list in a foreign language. I always do it. So one day I may write my list in Spanish, the next day I would write it in French or in Catalan. It'll also help you retain the vocabulary better. The only possible downside of this method, as you can see, your home may look a bit cluttered with all those Post-it notes everywhere. So instead, if you want to avoid this, definitely try to avoid this, yes. What you can do, you can pick a single topic every time. For example, this week I'm going to put sticky notes all over the kitchen and try to retain as much kitchen vocabulary as possible. Okay, and we finally arrived to our final tip number 5, which is speak to yourself. At this point of the video, you may think that I'm legit crazy, telling you to imitate everything as if you were a parrot, cover your house in Post-it notes, and now I'm telling you to speak to yourself as if you were a lunatic. No, guys, I'm not crazy. I'm just giving you my tips that help me to learn my foreign languages. Okay, and there's nothing strange or weird in speaking to yourself. Let me explain a bit more. I spent a lot of time speaking to myself in the languages I was learning. It's a great way when you don't have anybody to practice the language with. Nowadays, it's a bit easier to find a language exchange partner online, but about 10 years ago, it was not so accessible. And what I did was speak to myself. I would choose a different topic every day and speak to myself in my head. Yeah, just like this. When I was studying at the university, it took me about half an hour to get there. So in order to make the most out of this time, I would either listen to podcasts, audiobooks, or speak to myself. Don't be afraid to look weird. I'm repeating this all over again because you don't have to speak out loud in the street. You can just think out loud in your head. Also, when you don't know how to say something, don't get stressed or demotivated. Just say the words that you don't know in your native language and continue in the foreign language. But try to make a mental note of the words and phrases you wanted to use but you didn't know. And then, when you can, look them up in the dictionary and practice them. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video, and can you tell me what language tips and hacks work best for you? That would be very interesting to know. Share them with us in the comment section below, please. And that's all for today. If you want to see more language-related videos, please subscribe and hit the notification button, and I'll see you in our next video. Goodbye.